Welcome back, YouTube. And for those who are new here, hello. My name is Noah, and on my channel we talk about death, true crime, haunted people, places, and things, spiritual reparations, and how you can fuck around and find out. If you are not subscribed to my channel and you like watching my videos, go ahead and subscribe now. If you're on Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram, follow me there too. I will be leaving the links down below. On today's episode, we will be talking about haunted amusement parks. I noticed you guys really loved my Disneyland video, and I said, are there other amusement parks like this where it's meant for you to have a good time, but it's also haunted as hell? So we're going to be watching some TikToks to look at these very much so portals, these very spooky haunted parks. But before we even do that, I have been getting a lot of requests for me to host a spiritual retreat. And I actually posted on Instagram and TikTok about a retreat that I want you to join me on. But because we're besties, I want you guys' opinion as to where we should go, activities we should do, because I really want it to be something very well put together and nice. Now remember guys, with this trip, everything is included. I mean, your stay, your food, your activities. So I'm going to leave a link down below for you to click on it and tell me where you want to go, what you want to do, what's your budget, all that great stuff. And then we'll put something together real nice. Let's get into the TikToks. And as always, I will be leaving all of the links down below to these creators. If you love their content, go ahead and give them a follow. This first creator goes by the handle Elliot Sims on TikTok, and he has a list of very much so haunted theme parks, and y'all just watch.
Haunted Amusement Parks Part 1. Six Flags New Orleans has been abandoned since Hurricane Katrina in 2005. But for those that travel into the park, it is reported that you can hear voices of children and old ride music that once played in the park. Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey. In 1984, a group of teenagers burnt to death in the Haunted Castle attraction. To this day, sometimes people report seeing teenagers dressed in 80s clothes sitting around the park, only to realize that they're not actually there. Follow for Part 2.
Okay, I'm totally not surprised about the Six Flags New Orleans. My beloved New Orleans people went through a lot during Hurricane Katrina. A lot of souls were lost, and it does not surprise me that that place is very much so haunted. This next creator goes by Tinfoil Tom, and he is talking about a place that I'm not sure if it's real or not, but the place is called Liminal Land. It is in Mexico, New Mexico, excuse me, and it's just really weird.
In 1989, a theme park in New Mexico closed its doors forever after a mass disappearance of visitors occurred within its walls. The park was called Liminal Land. Logging onto visitliminalland.net, we're shown images that are both familiar and bone-chilling. An eerie sense of dread washes over you the deeper you dig into this mystery and its uncanny images. The website even has text that says to lose yourself in Liminal Land, something that I'm not sure is safe to do. A password-protected section of the website leads us to an unsettling image of Moloch, a deity associated in biblical passages with child sacrifice, making this theme park's closure and disappearances much more sinister. Whatever happened at Liminal Land is still developing, and it seems we'll know the truth about what happened there as the mystery unfolds. I do question myself, though, as the website asks us, where were you when it happened? Follow this channel for more strange stories.
So I Googled Liminal Land, and there is this website, and I'm not even going to play with them about passwords or anything like that, but it's just eerily creepy. It's almost like somebody somewhere created this in their head. I can't find any real news articles on it. What do y'all think? Have y'all ever heard of this amusement park that had this catastrophe? This next clip comes from an account called Dances with Werewolves, and she is covering the Mexican Disneyland, and it's called Reino Magico. And the park is closed, but they built it over a particular place, and now it's just very much so haunted.
In Veracruz, Mexico, there is an abandoned amusement park that was built over a cemetery. It was called Reino Mágico, or Magic Kingdom, and seems to be some sort of creepy rip-off Disney park. The place was cursed from the beginning. It was here that a paranormal team came to investigate the Snow White statue and actually caught her blinking her eyes on camera. In fact, this place is an epicenter for paranormal activity, and many believe it's because they never actually removed all of the bodies from the old cemetery. In this clip, you can clearly see that this is no animatronic. It is a hollow fiberglass statue. There's literally no explanation for how she could blink her eyes. People have actually claimed to see these statues not only move, but walk around. One man was so traumatized after he saw this that he took his own life. A little girl also fell tragically to her death from a ride here, and some say her spirit possesses the statue.
Whose dumbass idea was it to build a magical place over a cemetery and then think they wasn't going to fuck around and find out? I don't know. I had never heard of this place until I researched. Have y'all ever heard of the Mexican Disneyland? Please comment down below. This next creator goes by the handle of As Spooky Tales. We have featured her on the channel before. I love her account, so make sure you give her a follow. But she is also talking about this park that's in Veracruz, Mexico, and a story that was told to her. And baby...
In Veracruz, there's a park named Reino Mágico. One day, a woman took her daughter to play in the park. While playing, the woman's daughter came to her and said, "I made a new friend, but she's cold and needs a sweater." The girl's mom was worried that the little girl was there abandoned and asked her, "Where are your parents?" The little girl said to her, "My mom left me here, but she's gonna come back." So the woman gave the girl her sweater. It was time to leave, and the little girl's parents were still not there. The little girl told her that her mom would be by for her later. The little girl did tell the woman where she lived, and so she stopped by to ask what was going on. An old lady answered the door, and after confirming it was her daughter, she told the woman, "That's not possible. My daughter died years and years ago." When the park was still a cemetery, I visited my daughter's grave and I told her I would move her grave once I had enough money, but I never did. The little girl is still waiting there for her mom.
So what did we learn? We don't build things over cemeteries. It is so disrespectful and weird, and the souls never get to truly rest when you do things like that. That, to me, is like the most disrespectful thing to do, is desecrating someone's grave, someone's final resting spot. This next clip comes from our friends over at the Paranormal Files, and he is covering a park that has been abandoned, and it's on Lake Shawnee, and there's like over 3,000 people supposedly buried here.
This is the most haunted theme park in America, Lake Shawnee in West Virginia. This place is haunted by thousands of ghosts. So Lake Shawnee is a massive abandoned amusement park with a very dark and very disturbing past. Long before the amusement park was ever constructed, a tragedy already occurred on the land. You see, in 1775, a settler named Mitchell Clay made his claim right there on that property. Only a few years later, though, 2 of his children were murdered by indigenous peoples. But a third child of Mitchell's, named Ezekiel, was captured, he was brought to Ohio, and he was burned at the stake. I mean, look at it. It even says right there on the historical plaque. You can't make this up. All 3 of those kids' bodies are buried over here in the park property. Now, when Lake Shawnee was first established, people just kept dying. There were so many accidents in the park that it began to gather a haunted or cursed reputation. For example, a child was killed right here on this old abandoned swing set while the swing was in operation. Obviously, there was a drowning or 2 in this lake, and over here in this lake, I heard a story from the owner when I visited that a child was pulled under the water, supposedly by some sort of phantom force. After the child went under the water, the parents searched, they couldn't find their child. But eventually, a while later, they felt something brush against their leg under the water, and it was their child's body. But why could this place be so cursed, you ask? Well, right next to the property is a mass grave for indigenous peoples where over 3,000 bodies are suspected to be buried. I'm talking about the parks right here, and just over here is where this huge burial plot is. And people think that obviously, if they were all buried right there, some of those bodies may have moved in this direction. Over the years, people have experienced all sorts of paranormal activity here, the most terrifying kind of all. People have seen children sliding down the slides, riding the rides. People have seen figures riding the old Ferris wheel, waving at them, shadow figures that disappear. People have heard the sounds of giggling, heard children's voices, adult voices, and people have even seen eerie creatures and other shadow forms in these woods that surround the park. There's even more history that I'm missing out on here, but if you want to watch the full documentary that I shot there where we stayed overnight, just head to my YouTube channel. It was one of the craziest nights of my life. We had the entire amusement park to ourselves, and we caught some crazy paranormal activity on camera while we were there. Let me know below, would you spend the night here alone?
Silly colonizer. What did you think was going to happen? Did you think the natives was just going to lay down and let you take their land without sprinkling a little bit of curse on it? Just the delusion is just out of this world. This next video I have definitely featured here on the channel, and it comes from an account called The Netherworld, and it's of 3 women on a ride at an amusement park. I didn't know the history of this clip, but now I do, so I'm gonna fill y'all in. But just look, because there's actually not 3 alive women on this ride. So this clip was taken at a Mexican theme park, and supposedly, fact check me, I did a little research, but you know, TikTok University, sometimes they be lying. But it is said that the woman that is on the far right in the white shirt died on that ride some years prior. And sometimes she pops up in people's videos and pictures. But did you see her face? It doesn't even look of this world. Y'all comment down below if y'all think this is real or what you think this is. This next clip comes from an account called Ange DFWU, and it is of a ghostly looking rider in the dead of the night in front of an amusement park. Just take a look. I would have dispelled this video as fake if I hadn't been watching from another angle. If you look to the far right behind the car, this person just shows up on a bicycle. Just out of thin air. What do y'all think? Do y'all think this is real? This next video comes from an account of ghostly_rock, and they are exploring the very infamous Griffith Park carousel.
Went to the Griffith Park carousel at 3 a.m. It is believed that a ghost of a boy haunts the carousel. We kept hearing noises. We did a spirit box session, and this is what it answered.
Is anybody here? What's your name? How old are you? Are you a boy or girl? What's your name?
All the locals in the comments are saying this is the carousel that never stops turning. And Zach Bagans actually explored this place and said that a demon lives there. I won't be visiting anytime soon. This next clip comes from an account under Gage Evans, and he is exploring a very creepy and abandoned park in North Carolina. If the locals say that it's haunted, I'm going to believe the locals every time. And shout out to all of these explorers who's brave enough to go into these spots alone with just a camera. I mean, y'all are braver than me. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to no abandon anything. Well, maybe, but not at night. This next clip is of a roller coaster, and the ride itself is very strange. And I can't explain it. Just watch the clip.
This theme park ride causes guests to experience strange and supernatural events. The ride, known as the Curse of the Black Lagoon, takes guests on a journey through an old abandoned swamp. The ride features creatures and ominous scenes that come to life, but that's not the worst part. The ride has been known to cause guests to feel strange sensations, hear ghostly whispers, and even see ghostly apparitions. Despite the ride's eerie reputation, the park still operates the ride to this day.
That's scarier than a haunted abandoned amusement park. I get on the ride thinking I'm about to just have a good time, and I'm seeing apparitions and weird stuff afterward. Like maybe the ride is a portal. That's scary. I don't know why they would. I don't know what energy was put into this, but This next clip is from Elliot Sims again. It is part 2 of the haunted amusement park series he was doing, and this one, again, whoever built this fucked around and found out.
Haunted Amusement Parks, Part 2. Employees of the Enchanted Forest Amusement Park in Oregon claimed to hear footsteps, see orbs, and feel cold spots throughout the park. When they looked into it, the park sits very close to an old Native American burial ground. Could it be cursed? According to some guests, Kings Island in Ohio is very haunted. People have seen a small girl in a blue dress, a boy in a white suit, and a man who had died after he fell off this in 1983. Follow for more.
Stop building things next to burial grounds, on top of burial grounds, especially native burial grounds. My native brothers and sisters do not play, okay? They are all about the spiritual reparations. This next clip is from our friends at Hollyweird Paranormal. And of course, we just did our haunted Disney video, but this haunted amusement park is in Riverside. And I'm starting to think something is just wrong with LA in general.
Riverside, California, you guys never cease to amaze me when it comes to haunted places. A big shout out to Jason for sending me this location because I had no idea that this magic existed. Complemented by a couple of ghost stories. We're gonna grab our fanny packs and head on over to Castle Park, amusement park. Riverside, you have haunted everything. Mountains, haunted airfield, haunted school, and a haunted Mission Inn. You guys got the haunted Castle Park. I had no idea. The more you know. And even though you have a true attraction that goes by Castle Dark in Halloween, it seems that there's some darkness that kind of lingers around this area. So let's touch on some of the ghost stories that allegedly circulate around this popular park. First off, the history. Castle Park was established in 1976. It's the same creators that created Knott's Berry Farm. In 1985, the park expands, adding more eclectic rides, such as the Little Railroad Ride and the Denzel Carousel, which is pretty interesting because this carousel was actually built in 1905. But could it be a magnet for a lot of the unexplainable ongoings that occur in this park? Let's start here. Allegedly, there are stories of a little boy and a little girl ghost that are not only seen in this carousel, but oftentimes around this railroad track. I'll touch on this later. But the carousel is very interesting because workers have claimed to have seen a little boy apparition and a little girl apparition running around the carousel, especially after hours. It's often been said that at times the carousel lights turn on by themselves along with the music that it plays. No one is operating the ride. Another interesting story that is attached to the railroad is seeing an apparition of a man in a cowboy hat. And the most famous apparition of them all that circulates around this park is this one, a lady in white. Always a lady in white. I want to come back as a lady in leopard print, fuchsia, lavender. Okay, so the lady in white. No one knows who this woman is or who she may be connected to, but there are other stories and links that could be a possibility, such as this one right up here. People believe that it could be the wife of the former owner, Lou Hurlbut, but there's no proof. Regardless, people still see her And this is a story that I collected from hauntedplaces.org, where a worker claimed that while he was operating the train on this train track, this worker apparently saw a woman standing in the middle of the train track, try to get her out of the way, but the train just went through her. It's not just the woman in white that people see. People claim to have seen an apparition of an old man in a cowboy hat. And this one park goer remembers seeing an older man who was sitting next to this train track, on a cowboy hat and a light faded flannel shirt. He was sitting on the bench and he tipped his hat to this girl and he just disappeared right before her. What's really interesting about this park is the dark figures that people see in and around the locations, specifically in bushes. And there's this one picture online that supposedly, allegedly, these two park goers claim that they captured one of those figures while touring the park. And this is what they claim they captured, circled here in the middle. It's really hard to tell what they captured, but let's take a closer look. I mean, this is just my honest opinion. It's one of those things where you have to squint to see Bigfoot, but this looks like a house, but I think it's like what's in front of this house is what they're trying to communicate. So it looks like this is a dark figure followed by whatever's peeking out of this roof of this house. I mean, it does look unusual, but it's one of those things where it's inconclusive for me. Let me know what you guys think. This is just allegedly what they captured. What could be behind the hauntings of Castle Park? Now, there are stories, alleged stories, of something that we hear quite often, of this being a specific people's land or burial ground, which I don't want to touch on, but that is what a lot of people kind of gravitate towards. That's the reason why there's a lot of activity in this park. But have you gone to Castle Park? And if so, let me know if you experienced anything paranormal there, especially on any of the rides. Or when it turns dark, let me know in the comments, and stay haunted, Riverside.
Something is definitely wrong with LA. It's absolutely a portal, and that's kind of my segue to one of my videos I have coming up. But it is a portal, so it doesn't surprise me that all of these places hold so much energy. It's like, we're not safe to go nowhere. I'm in Las Vegas, so when I want to go to amusement parks, I gotta go to LA, and they're ruining it for me. That is all for today, YouTube. And if you are interested in traveling with me, seeing the world with me, don't forget to click the link down below to take the survey. And as always, y'all do good, be good, stay safe.